Hello and welcome back to Storytime with Alex. I am now on the third and concluding part of The Tale of the Forest, one of the stories in From Allbyon to Britannia, Book 1, The Witches of Old Albion, by the ineffable Brandy Pearson. So it's the third part, Tale of the Forest. Please do go back and listen to the other two so you know what the hell's going on. But just to catch you up, Jane Morris, the witch who always travels around the Oakbourne Forest, has been hearing tales and herself saw these strange creatures like worms and ogres and giant spiders that she didn't think existed anymore. She got a wizard to come help her. They went intrepidly into the forest and discovered a mad wizard in the middle of the forest who was making all these things out of his fear and madness. And then with the help of some green men who'd been trying to warn her, they have, well, she put him to sleep. So now they're taking him out of the forest to see if they can work out what to do with him. And let's find out what happens. The green men were strong, and one of them took the sleeping wizard into his leafy arms and set off. They reached the village in little more than an hour. The green men laid him down and faded back into the trees as Mistress Jane and Wizard Claudius called their thanks to them. When it became clear to the people of Deerstoke that there would be no more worms nor any other monsters, there was great relief, though no one wanted to go near the sleeping wizard, just in case he woke up. They did not really want him in the village at all, but were very happy to lend the wizard a cart and a cart horse to take him away. Wizard Claudius and Mistress Jane had a long discussion about where to take the sleeping wizard, because it became clear that they would have to take him to the city of the White Tower. Claudius did not know what would happen to him and needed to get him to the academy, hoping that there would be a solution. Mistress Jane was secretly worried about what would happen to the wizard, but didn't like to discuss it with Claudius. Jane insisted that he must not stay asleep any longer than necessary. I can read. When it became clear that she had to go with him, Mistress Jane was almost as alarmed as she had been when she saw the worm. He needed her to keep the wizard asleep. She had seldom been to the city, and certainly never been to the wizard school, as she called it to herself, although she was careful to always call it the academy to Wizard Claudius. So the following morning, after another hearty breakfast, they set off. Mistress Jane drove the cart, and Wizard Claudius rode next to her on his tall black horse. She reflected that they probably looked like an even odder couple than when they walked together. She had to shout if she wanted to talk to him, so after an hour or two he tied his horse to the back of the cart and came and sat next to her. It took them 5 days to arrive at the city. When they drew up into the courtyard of the wizard's school, her heart was in her mouth. She wondered if this might not be more frightening than giant spiders. Wizard Claudius and she had become good friends over their journey, and he made sure that the wizards understood how she had saved him and the forest, and that they needed to treat her well. She sat with the sleeping wizard in the infirmary, both to ensure he did not wake, and because that was what she did with very sick people. Claudius and the other wizards went off for a serious conference to discuss what to do. After some hours, Wizard Claudius came into the room looking grim. "The Wizards' Council has come to its conclusion, the only solution. But it's a terrible thing to do to a wizard," said the wizard. "Will he die?" said Jane in alarm. "No, of course not. But there is a spell. It is possible to remove his ability to make magic. I could not do it. Only the prior has the power. I wouldn't want to. We spend our lives training and developing our skills and writing our book of spells. Most of us live alone in our towers. To have the magic taken away, it would be like taking away who I am, taking away my life." He grew pale at the thought and sat down suddenly on a wooden chair by the window. Jane wanted to help her friend. "I looked into his eyes as he conjured up great monsters to try and drive away imagined demons. His magical power had driven him mad. It may be that he will be a happier man without them. Your magic has not driven you mad. I believe he would see his magical powers very differently from you." Mistress Jane Morris remembered this conversation with her friend Wizard Claudius Merrick one day about 5 years later. She had come to Ashington, as she often did, and was sitting in the inn with Farmer Hodge and his friend the carpenter, when another of their friends entered. She had never seen him in her visits to Ashington, but nevertheless she vaguely recognised him. He introduced himself as Rollo the Potter. He smiled at her as if he knew her too, but said nothing until she left the inn and followed after her. "Do you know who I am?" he asked. "I was very ill when you last saw me." She looked into his eyes and finally recognised him. "You're the wizard who was in the forest." For a moment she was worried, but then he laughed. "Well, that was who I was, but no longer. I'm Rollo the Potter. It turns out that clay is much better for me than magic." Wizard Claudius was so upset at the thought of taking your magic away. It was not easy to wake up and find it gone. It took a long time to become someone else. Claudius tried his best to help me, but in the end it was the clay that saved me. I went into the forest, not along the path from Deerstoke, and found the blue clay. I sat there, squishing it through my hands, and I found a vocation. I did an apprenticeship with a potter on the coast, but when I went into business for myself, well, it was here in Ashington. There had been no potter here for 10 years since Jonathan the Potter died, so here I stayed. And now I must go, or my wife will be wondering where I am. I told her I would not be late. Mistress Jane did not see the potter again until the day she left. He came to see her as she wove a spell over the village well to keep the water sweet. "I have a present for you, Mistress Jane." He handed her a pendant of clay glazed in a deep blue. It was in the shape of a worm. "For all you did for me." She thanked him, and he smiled, then went back home to his new life. The end. There you go. That is the final part of that. But we still have more stories to go in From Allbyon, Britannia. So, yeah, come join me next time. Thank you.